Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to my Robinhood portfolio. What I thought I'd do today is talk a little bit about PHK. I put a video out a couple weeks ago entitled Dangers of High Yield Dividend Funds. In that video I talked about PHK and some of the reasons investors should avoid these types of funds, or at least take a look at some of the underlying characteristics of these funds, because they can be very, very dangerous. And since I put out that video, PHK has actually experienced a lot of the things I was talking about. If you haven't taken a look at that video, take a look at the video. I kind of go through PHK, what it's about, and what the dangers associated with the high dividend yield fund are. To briefly recap here, PHK is a fund that invests in below investment grade securities and high yield bonds, otherwise known as junk bonds. And it provides a very, very nice dividend for investors. 14.18% you can see in the middle there. It's sky high dividend, and the important part of that dividend is that it's unsustainable. It basically is higher than the net income and capital gains from the fund itself. So the fund, in order to sustain that dividend, needs to return to the investor the fund's own capital, otherwise known as return of capital. That last video I talked a little bit about that the dividend per month was 0.1035, but out of that 0.1035, 0.0416 was actually return of capital. So it was not investment income or net income. It was not capital gains. It was simply taking the fund's money and returning to the investor in the form of a dividend. So to kind of simplify that, 0.10 was the dividend, and out of that 0.04 was return of capital. So only 0.06 was actually the fund making money or making net income on its investments. And you can see over the long term that would degrade the fund to the point where it wouldn't be able to make any net income, because it's essentially given all its capital back to the investor. Another topic I talked about as well was the net asset value. So the net asset value of this fund is only $6.63, or at least that was what it was when I took a look at the numbers last time. But the fund, you can see here, is trading much higher than $8.75, and last month it was even trading higher than that. You can see $9.89, and over the last 3 months it's always been above that $6.63 net asset value. So really it has a very high premium, 32%, and over the last 6 months it's averaged 40 to 50%, one of the highest premiums in these sorts of funds. You can see it's very, very risky. And the important part with this fund is you can see here it dropped off the cliff here, $9.95 down to $8.79. And what happened here was that PIMCO actually cut this dividends fund. So it was being given at a 0.10346 per month rate of dividend yield. That's now been cut to 0.080699. So essentially dropping 0.02%, or about 25% of the overall dividend. And it did that because it was not able to sustain that dividend. Like I said, the return of capital was essentially about half of the dividend. And as I talked about, over the long term, you're simply just going to give back the investors all the capital in the fund, and then there won't be any capital to use to generate gains. So unsustainable, essentially. So because of that, PIMCO cut the dividend of this fund, and as a result the fund price tanked here. You can see there it dropped 11% over the last week. So very, very risky and not unpredictable. As I talked about in that last video, these funds with unsustainable dividends, at some point the company has to cut the dividend, and when they do that the share price drops, especially when the share price is at a premium. This fund, like I said, 30 to 40% premium, sometimes even up into the 50 to 60% range. So a very, very risky fund, and wasn't expecting this, but after putting out that video, the dividend was cut and the share price was essentially dropped off the premium here. So $9.94 down to $8.79. So kind of a real-time example of the dangers of investing in these very high income funds, high dividend yielding income funds. When the dividend is cut, the share price tanks, and you can lose a lot of money. Investors here losing 11.35%. That's essentially, almost a year's worth of dividends here. 14.18. Now that's been cut down to about 10 or so. So that's a year's worth of dividends lost here. So even though it has a very nice distribution monthly, you're going to have to wait another whole year before you get back to even here. So just wanted to put out an update video with regards to the dangers of high yield dividend funds here, with a perfect example here, PHK. It cut its dividend and the price has tanked. So let me know if you guys had been invested in this fund. I had been invested in this fund in the past, got out of it because of the dangers associated with these funds, and I'm glad I did, because you can see here it's basically dropped down. And even now, even though the dividend is now 0.08 per month, it's still having a return of capital of 0.03. So almost 40% of that dividend is still return of capital. So in the future, it's probably going to have to do another distribution cut, and if that happens, the price is going to drop even further. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about these high income funds, especially PHK here. I know a lot of you guys have been invested in PHK. So let me know what you guys are doing, if you're going to hold on to this, if you're going to get rid of it with anticipation of another dividend cut, or what you're doing. I'm not exactly sure what the correct decision would be, but let me know what you guys are doing. So kind of with that, I'll end the video here. As always, if you enjoy my videos, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. The whole point of these videos is to learn about investing, not only for myself, but for you guys as well. If you guys have any questions about anything in general, this fund in particular, or any other questions about investing, let me know. If you guys have any great ideas about investing or good stocks to own, let me know as well. Always taking a look at new ideas and new stocks. So kind of with that, I'll end the video, and we'll see you guys next time.